everything, well, it's not okay. You're only to see with a mouth and lie. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Artist to Artist show, live from electricmoon.org. Today, the show is basically based upon we bring on artists and songwriters, musicians, and we talk about what inspires them, the creative process, our muse, the inspiration, all kinds of stuff, and wherever the inspiration leads. Sometimes we have live performances, and tonight we haven't done this in a little while, so it's exciting. We're going to create a live painting, live in the flesh on the canvas, and so very exciting. So tonight, I'd like everyone to please welcome the fantastic, the super talented, I'm a huge fan of hers. Welcome, Jasmine Day. How are you?
Hi, Brent. I'm so good. How are you?
How you doing? I'm good. I'm excited to do this.
I'm so excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this all week. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, here we are. Are you keeping cool? Is it kind of a warm day today?
It's kind of a warm day today, but you know me, I'm always in my black sweaters, ready to
That's
go.
right. And I'm kind of typically the same, but I do have a green to protect the paint.
I know, I saw that. That's very
Yeah.
smart. I didn't think about that.
You're like, is he wearing overalls or what does that get up? But
Mhm.
yeah, I got this from, Nick and I. We work at Alexander House with the kids, the
Yeah,
music program, and sometimes we cook dinner, so they gave me this smock
that's so
or
smart.
apron or whatever it is. So I
Whatever.
paint in it.
That's really smart. You know, I need to get one of those so I don't ruin all of my black clothes.
That's right. It's a lot of fun. So your logo is wonderful. We kind of match logos a bit.
Yes, we do. This is street style cinema.
Right on. Well, why don't we? I know you do a lot of things, Jasmine. We'll discuss a bunch of it, but I know you. I mean, you're an amazing drummer. I like your drumming quite a bit, actually. Photographer. You shot the band. I think have you shot us a couple times or once, twice, maybe?
Couple times now, yeah.
Yeah, and you're a model as well and an actor. So
Yes.
talk to us about, and I think we should start painting
Oh
as
my God.
well.
Yes.
I almost forgot about that. So what is your favorite art form? I mean, I know you do a handful of things. What's one of your favorite ways to express yourself? Because you're very expressive and artistic.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite to do is acting. I love acting. I love
Okay.
being in front of a camera. And
Amazing.
I love storytelling is what
Yeah.
it comes down to.
Yeah.
I like trying to talk and
It's
draw.
good, before we go any further, I want you to elaborate on that question, but do you typically create on your own or like how
Yeah.
do you
Do you mean painting wise or
like
like
painting wise? Yeah,
painting? I do on my own, which
you
I'm
too.
really excited we're doing this tonight because I haven't painted in such a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to do this.
I am one of those painters that I like leave me alone. I'm in a room, I have music on,
Oh yeah, for
you
sure.
know, uh, so this is out of my comfort zone, which is good for artists
Exactly.
because you need to get out of it because chances are once you get out of somewhere comfortable, you're going to create something unique. Something good is going to come from it. So anyway, so
Exactly.
so please continue. So acting is your favorite way to express yourself, eh? Tell
Yes,
us more.
I love storytelling, and I mean, granted, I love all of the art forms that I get to do.
Yeah,
Acting is my favorite. I've been dancing the longest. I've been dancing since I was 3 years old.
amazing.
And my mom owns a dance studio.
Oh,
So
great.
I
Is that
basically,
in Santa Fe then, or New Mexico? Where?
yeah, it's in New Mexico.
Okay.
So she owns her dance studio, which I basically, I grew up there.
Is
Um,
that Santa Fe, Jasmine, or is that where is that?
that is,
Exactly.
it's a very little town called Belen. It's a little south of Albuquerque.
Okay. Ooh, I love Albuquerque and Santa Fe very much.
Santa Fe
Great.
is beautiful.
So, what kind of dance did you get into with your mom's studio?
I danced a little bit of everything. I did ballet, tap,
Oh,
Broadway jazz, hip hop, contemporary, modern. for a long time. So that's what I've done the longest. And I think I go through phases where like I really love it. And sometimes just, when you do something for so long,
Yeah.
especially if it's, athletic like that it wears and tears on your body a
Oh
lot.
yeah, especially dancing, right?
Right. So
Yeah.
I go through phases with that. But even through that, I still manage to find ways of like storytelling, especially through contemporary and modern dancing.
Yeah.
That's something that I've gotten to discover as at like an older age that's gotten me back into the love of dance.
Yeah.
So that's been really nice. And music, I love music. I grew up listening to, you name it, whatever genre. I'm very thankful to my parents
I
that
could
they
tell. I
everything.
could tell you're well versed, ahead of your years, which is the way to be, which is rare. I've told you that.
Yes.
Um, Talk to me about what is your favorite, like I would do acting if someone asked me, but I'm not really an actor. So what is your what's your dream acting gig? Like if you had if someone gave you a script
Uh-huh.
and to say, all right, I want you to play Blondie in the 70s, or I want you which I'm sure you would like that gig. That might be it. But what is your dream gig? You'd want to play like someone in a you know, going through mental trauma in a mental institution in the 80s, whatever it is. What role would you want to play?
So the reason why I had that reaction, it's so funny that you mentioned that because I'm actually working why I got this new little haircut. Um, I've heard many times people say, "Oh, you look a lot like Debbie Harry,"
Wow.
which is so cool. And
Yeah.
like I've seen a lot of pictures of when she was younger, and I'm like, you know what, I kind of do. And I'm reading her autobiography right now, which is excellent. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
And I'm writing a little short film, basically
Great.
as a target project for my manager to show them like, hey, this is what I can do.
Great.
I want to play Debbie Harry. So
Awesome.
I'm working on that right now. That's so funny that you say that.
Wow. That is, sometimes I have these weird powers where I can and it happens in interviews. You know who I would actually like to play is Michael Hutchins.
Really?
You know who that is?
I do know who that is. I think you'd be great at that.
In Excess. Yeah, I'd have to grow my hair back out, but yeah, I find him pretty fascinating performer. And it's the reason I say that is 'cause I had an interview with an Australian reporter a handful of years now, and I had really long hair with Barbarian Overlords at the time.
Yeah.
And we met somewhere at a restaurant to do the interview, and he knew Michael. And he goes, he's like, and Michael had passed, and at the time I looked like a young Michael. And he
Yeah.
goes, when you walked into the cafe, I thought it was him.
No way.
And he goes, you have a striking build resemblance and also gentle demeanor, which just like Michael, he's like he was Australian, so he had an accent. Mine's from Detroit, but he's like you guys resemble. It's striking. And then ever since then, I'm like, man, I'd like to play him in a film.
Well,
But anyway,
you should. You absolutely should. I think that'd be amazing.
oh man, it'd be incredible. So what is another? Are you into more very dramatic, where you have to change your body chemistry and physicality? Are you into that sort of thing?
Absolutely.
I know you are.
More than you know.
You're the
Um,
real deal because I know you are. I know. I can
Thank
tell.
you.
Yeah.
No, I love doing that stuff. I mean, it's always like it's up for debate about, whether you want to call it like method acting or not, or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. That's the more, mainstream term for it. I don't think it all has to be umbrellaed under method acting, but I think that there's definitely a lot of benefits of, in a healthy way, um,
Yeah.
really giving yourself over to the character like that. Um,
Yeah.
I it's a fine line sometimes, and I think you need to
Yeah.
know yourself really well and know what your limits are to do that. But putting that aside, that's my favorite thing to do. I've done a couple of films that are in the horror psychological thriller genre,
Awesome.
and they were very tough on me. They were very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And I had to be prepared to put myself through that mental and physical strain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but at the end of the day, I can say I'm really, really proud of what I did. And
Yeah.
giving yourself over to the character and
Yeah.
allowing yourself to think like that person, or putting in the research of, oh, they're a video game designer, so I'm going to look into video game designing, and oh, they do this, so I'm going to research what about this. So like
Yeah.
really doing it. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, method acting, I don't really like that term. I think it's more or less just doing your job and getting into the character,
Yeah,
you
which I
know?
think is like, because after, whether you say like Heath Ledger or like actors like that have
Yeah.
negative consequences with the umbrella term of method acting. I
Yeah.
don't think that it's necessarily all method acting. I think that part of it is just, you have to do your research, you have to do your job as an actor. And I think a lot of it just gets umbrellaed under that and sort of
Yeah.
with a negative connotation that it doesn't quite deserve.
Yeah, I think it is delicate ground. I mean, I think with Heath Ledger and struggling to get out of his character, I think in that film,
Yeah.
and he got wrapped up into some other things that didn't help the situation, or even Jim Carrey, I mean, struggling to get out of, some of his characters because these guys and girls are so brilliant at what they do and so focused on their work that it's probably a challenge. I mean, I've thought about playing, doing having a Doors tribute, but I'm like, you know what? I think that might be dangerous for me because then I'd have to act like Morrison on stage and he was a live wire. And I did that years ago. Maybe you've even heard a story about me, but I don't think I can go there. I don't think I could play that role. It'd be too dangerous for me at this point in my life. Does that make
It
sense?
absolutely it does. It's hard, and I like say that from now where I am now as an actor versus when I was like starting acting, or even like the first, bigger role that I had that
Yeah.
was very demanding.
Yeah.
I I remember like getting off a set and I would like start crying. It was just like so much that
Yeah.
nothing was wrong, nothing happened. It was just so much
Yeah.
that it was so like overwhelming.
Sure.
And
Sure.
I really have to be able to trust myself and with my limits. Um,
Yeah.
because if not, then yeah, it absolutely can get very dangerous. And
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Because
But
you want to play the role well, and you want to play like you want to get up there and be like, okay, Morrison would insult the crowd, and his band would say, we never knew what Morrison we would get. Either he'd be amazing, or he'd be a total wreck,
right.
or he'd just stumble off stage, and we'd be like, are we gonna even play tonight? Where is Jim? So it's like, to get into that character. But I guess it's kind of like it might be kind of like writing a record. Like whenever I go into a record, I have to wake up one day. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this because I have to go, depending on the material you're writing or what's in your heart and in your soul at the time. Sometimes you have to go to a dark place to get to do a record, and I have to be, mentally prepared and physically just to kind of, okay, I'm doing this, I'm going there,
Exactly.
so
And I think that's why, I mean, that's part of what it is to be an artist. You have to look into yourself. You have to
yeah,
um and just say like, okay, what are the ugly parts of myself? What are
yeah,
the difficult parts, the sad parts, the whatever parts, and how can I turn that into
right,
something so it doesn't stay inside of you? And at the
yeah,
end of the day, you never know who else that's going to help, um,
right,
that resonates with. And I think
right.
that's ultimately what makes it worth it.
Yeah, there's what you call, and that's a good thing about growing older and maturing and getting through that really tricky time. Because now, I mean, we work with kids, and we work with saying you can get through this too, with music and art. And I think there's the biggest thing, there's two kinds of pain. There's a pain that you can use to work for you,
Hmm.
or a pain that sadly you can use to work against you, and if you can make that pain work for you and get through those tricky times, you can build, something beautiful, a beautiful garden out of any pain that you feel, which is kind of what we're doing right now,
We
you know?
sure are.
So that's really where you want to be. And I heard someone else say recently, it was brilliant. And he said, there's a villain and there's a hero. Do you know the difference between the two, Jasmine?
A villain and a hero?
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. What's your interpretation?
You mean in like a cut and dry sort of way or like a story kind of way?
No, pretty cut and dry. What's the difference between a hero and a villain, how they behave themselves and how they kind of get through what they had to go through?
I mean, a hero takes.
If you went through pain, I'm sorry to back up.
Oh yeah.
The hero went through pain and the villain went through pain. What's the difference between how they both go about how they see the world?
I think a hero takes whatever hurt them and, uses it as motivation to make them stronger to overcome their challenges and to help others
Right,
do the
right,
same. And I think a villain takes that pain and sees how they can bring others down
right. And
along
take
with
that,
them. Yeah.
yeah, and take that pain out on someone else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much the difference. The hero is like, man, I don't think I'm a hero, but I feel like, man, I had so much pain. Why would I want anyone to feel the way I felt? Because it really sucked. You know what I mean? Or
Exactly.
whenever we go through pain, it's like, why would you want to make someone else feel that? So, I guess that's the difference. But so your photography, how do you approach that? If someone says, shoot my band or a fashion shoot, let's start with what's your favorite photography gig? Like, what's your, I know you do a lot of live bands. What's one of your favorite gigs?
Yes, actually, the best photos I've ever taken was the weekend. It was a double header Garden Grove amp. It was you guys. It was Dustland Fairy Tale.
Yeah.
And that Sunday following, I think you guys played Saturday. Did you guys play Friday or Saturday?
I think it was Friday and then in the end.
Yeah, so you guys played Friday, and then in the end, played Sunday,
Yeah.
and both at Garden Grove Amphitheater, and those are like the best photos I've ever
Wow.
taken. I was really happy with how those turned out, and it's I don't consider myself a like professional photographer by any means.
Oh, I do. What is professional?
You know what? You're right. Thank
Good
you.
work. Define professional. Don't.
You're right. Thank you. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't been doing it that long.
Yeah.
Um, but I do love doing it. I did in college I studied a lot of film. So composition, whether it's film or photography, just figuring out how to best capture the subject and what
Yeah.
they're doing. And
Yeah.
for example, photographing you, like I had so many photos of you like reaching up into the sky,
Mm,
and you were just so
mm.
passionate and so overthrown with what you were doing that like it's an honor to capture artists doing that. So many artists
Wow.
around the area, especially musicians, all of our friends, they love what they do. And I want to be able to capture them, to show them like this
Yeah.
is what you look like. Like this is what
Wow.
you look like when you're doing what you love.
A very unselfish way to look at it, Jazzy.
I think it's important. I mean, when I'm on the other end, when I'm performing, and sometimes, like you can get in your head and you think, oh, I don't know, do I look cool? Do I is there something on my face? Do I look weird?
Yeah.
Is there something going on? Or even just, do people understand how much I love what I do?
Yeah.
I think that's important to show other people, like, this is
It's
what you look like.
First of all, thank you for it's amazing that we could be a part of that because I think I've been photographed many, many times, and those are some of my favorite photographs.
Well, thank you.
Jasmine Day. So, especially the one with Nick is just epic, man. I
I
mean,
love
that that encompasses, and I put it in a cheesy social media IG post, but it's true. It encompasses what it's like to be able to play music with your friends. I
Exactly.
mean, it's all there. We're embracing, we're smiling. There's a big crowd with hands up in front of you. That's what it feels like, open sky. But that photograph that you caught, where I'm on the platform and I'm kind of my hands are up and I'm looking at the sky, that moment,
Mhm.
you did capture exactly. I felt utterly at peace for maybe it was 2 seconds, Jasmine. It was 2 seconds, but I had this moment of Brent, be in this moment right now because it's amazing. And I've never done, it was like a drug. It was for those 2 minutes or 2 seconds of my thought. I was utterly at peace, and you caught that moment.
I could
Caught
tell.
that.
I thought that that one was special. I could just tell something about it was just that was it. And that's, that's why we do it. That's why it's so important.
It was the open sky, and I just remember thinking for those 2 seconds, like, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible. This feels so great." And I just remember thinking, Brent, just be in this moment. Don't be anxious right now. Just relax and just soak this up. And you caught that. I don't know. I looked up for maybe what, 2 seconds, and you caught it, right? It
I'm on
wasn't long.
I'm on the job.
Hey, man, I don't know. I'm such a fan. But yeah, that was a cool night. That was a lovely time. Hopefully we'll be back very soon. But so what's your favorite dance? Did you say what is your favorite form of dancing? Because you learned a
Um,
lot.
I've done a lot, it's it just depends on what I'm doing. I love Broadway jazz style. I think that's so much fun. Uh,
Yeah.
I love tap dancing with the rhythm about it. That's actually, I think, why I was able to pick up drums so fast is because of tap dancing. Uh,
Probably.
it's very similar.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, it is.
I love that. And, contemporary and modern, that's storytelling through your body movement. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Something that I've been letting myself explore now a little bit more as I'm older. Um,
Yeah.
because growing up, I was very, strict ballet, very rigid form and everything like that. So while it's beautiful, there's not a lot of room for, exploring what kind of story you want to tell or how you want your body to move or anything like that.
Right.
So I think it's just it's different. I think it changes throughout what stage of my life that I'm in.
Yeah.
But I truly do love it all.
Was your mother a very, very strict teacher in teaching you dance, or was she a little bit more express yourself, but I'm just gonna give you a few tools and do your thing, or how did that work?
She was a very strict ballet teacher for
Okay. Okay.
no ill will whatsoever. Love her to death.
Yeah.
She was very strict though. And growing up, especially being the dance studio owner's daughter, like
Yeah.
maybe the other girls are either jealous of like, oh, you get special treatment. And I'm like, no, I have to work 10 times harder
Right.
than you guys.
Right. Right.
So, well, like as a little kid, I may not have appreciated that as much. As I was older, absolutely I do. I think on any set that I walk on any dance class that I'm doing, anything like that, I always see myself, I work way harder than some of the other actors
Yeah.
or dancers do because they're not used to necessarily the long hours. I mean, I was never at home growing up. I was always at the dance studio. I didn't
Yeah.
hang out with friends because I was working.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was tough, but I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah. It's sometimes when we're in the thick of it, man, our backgrounds don't always add up. I mean, I was just talking to Mike before we went on air about, you know, he's got a little one named Neo, and he likes to pretend he's like vacuuming and things like that.
Uh-huh.
And and we were talking about how I had to get up every Saturday morning super early and do chores,
Yeah,
you know? And excuse me, that was a work ethic that was instilled in me from a very young age. And now, you know, I pride myself on working really hard, whether it's, writing songs or painting or doing stuff like this, it's your work ethic, when everybody else is sleeping, you're working, kind of thing. So,
exactly.
but we're grateful to have that inside of us. It didn't always make sense. Like, man, I just want to sleep in. I can't sleep in like one day,
Right.
Saturday morning. Come on. But then down the road, you're like, nope, get up. You got work to do. You know?
Exactly. So I'm
So,
very thankful for that. And it's taught me a lot, especially I've noticed it especially on sets. And not even just in the LA area, like when I was in Colorado or in
mhm.
Mexico or even here, like that days can be really long, really, really, really long.
Yeah,
And a lot of people are like, man, I just want to go home. And I'm like,
yeah,
what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do at home?
yeah, yeah.
Wouldn't you rather be on set doing what you love? So
Right,
um,
right.
I'm just really thankful that I have that mentality.
Well, I hope someday you get a role that encompasses all of you know, all of it, where you can actually dance and act and do even photography. That'd be amazing.
I guess I'll just
So,
have to write it myself.
you know what? There you go.
There we
There you
go.
go. And that's part of what art is creating what didn't exist before, something that you might like and appreciate and hope that can help somebody else.
Exactly.
That's a whole start writing.
Exactly. I'm
Start writing.
working on a couple different things right now.
Yeah,
Looking
what are you working on?
looking at some scripts that I had written during college.
Okay.
Some dark comedy, some thrillers, some stuff like that that I just hadn't touched in a while. And because I'm not sure if you know about like the writer's strike and
Oh
the
yeah, 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 of
yeah.
course.
So
Fortunately.
with everything going on with that now, I'm like, you know what a better time than to write my own stuff. So
Right. Yeah, it's a good time to do that now.
mhm,
So for sure. I mean, and that's the kind of same thing with you went through a pandemic. It's when you go through hard times, it's when we, the artists, go to work,
exactly.
because we're documenting what we see around us. So, during the pandemic for myself, I mean, I was, we had nothing better to do but paint all night, paint through the night, get up whenever I wanted, and then lock myself in a room and write a song with the band or whatever. So it was like, it was the perfect time for us to kind of, process it ourselves and document what was going on. And I feel grateful that I was in a good situation. A lot of people had difficult times, but that's the beauty of being an artist, is it can be challenging, but at the same time, we're able to process things. I can put on a piece of music and paint, and I just feel at peace. It's amazing. We're very lucky to have that outlet. You know,
Exactly. I'm already feeling like so much more relaxed just painting and
I
talking.
know, isn't it incredible? I
I need to paint more.
You do. I mean, it really is therapeutic. I mean, Jasmine, I literally could paint through the night. I literally could paint until my eyes actually just fall asleep. But I have to get up these days. I have so many responsibilities. I have to get up and address emails, but I could literally just paint through the night. Easy, no problem.
You're like, I just want to paint.
Yeah. And listen to music. If there's a new Bjork record, you're going to listen to that or whatever it is. So it's a good time to catch up on on everything. So I hope this sparks things for you again.
Oh, it already is. This is like
Great.
working. That's what art does. It works miracles on the mind. I'll tell you what.
And it excuse me, everybody, excuse me. It's we go through phases too where, painting always speaks to me. I just don't always have time to be able to do it.
Right.
because I have to get up in the morning
Exactly.
and when I don't want to. So it's, it's, and I'm not a painter during the day. How about you? Are you, I like to create when things are dark.
So do I. This is like,
Yeah.
I never paint before like at least 9 o'clock. I like it when it's dark,
Yeah. I
candles
understand.
and things. But this is, it's getting dark. This is nice.
Oh yeah, it's getting there. It's dark in here because it's the lighting. So I can't. It's like being in the studio. You're recording vocals, and then you go out in the sun. You're like, ah. It's like to total vibe kill, right?
Yeah,
But
totally. You're like, wait a second.
oh, I can't stand that. It's like the studio's all dark. You're doing your thing, and then you got to go out to get lunch or something. You're like, no.
You killed the
But
vibe.
speaking of recording, who's some of your favorite drummers, and what's talk to us about your drumming? Because I've watched you here and there, but I want to investigate because I may want to work with you as a drummer. Tell us some of your biggest influences and some bands that really push you to be a greater drummer.
Absolutely. Like specific drummers. So somebody's asking me this last night, and this is always my go-to answer, and I wish.
I missed what you said. I'm sorry.
Somebody was asking me this last night actually,
Yeah.
and I always say Danny Carey of Tool,
Oh wow. Okay.
one of my favorite, just because like he's like a superhero, like
Yeah.
in what he does.
Yeah.
Of course, I cannot play like him. I wish I could, maybe one day.
I
But
heard he was up for the Foo Fighters gig potentially.
yes,
He
yes, yes,
was in the running.
yes. Although Nick was telling me that your prediction ended up being correct.
Who did? Nick?
Yeah, Nick was saying.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we kind of had an inside source, but because I don't know if Nick told you, but Stan, his father, was at the last.
Got you.
He was at the last kids program that we did because that's how I met. So the Freezes were actually one of the first supporters of Electric Moon Foundation.
No way. I didn't know.
Yeah. So Jason, Josh's brother, plays in Green Day.
Right.
Yeah, he's like the go-to rock and roll saxophone player. So I met Jason, so they donated some instruments, and I've been to their house for the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's
And
so cool.
yeah, Stan's a wonderful human being. So, but I mean, Stan didn't even really know, which is Josh's father.
Right.
It was
That's
so
great.
like under wraps that we would kind of ask him. I wouldn't, but Pam would, and he'd be like, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure. So yeah, but Josh, I think is a great. I think he's great for the gig.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of his work as well. I mean, he's incredible. He's an incredible drummer. Um,
Yeah. Who else?
um, it's funny. I don't have a lot of. I can't say that I'm like a specific learner from one drummer, or like this is who I'm
Yeah.
trying to emulate with my playing.
Good.
Um,
Good.
which I think is good.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the bands that I love, you know, I I'm a big emo kid, and I
Yeah.
always will be.
Right.
So I grew up listening to My Chemical Romance and The Killers, and
Yeah.
which is why I love watching Dustin and Fairy Tale so much.
Wow. Wow.
And all the emo tracks, and I think that they have something important to say. I think that they were important to me for many different periods of my life, and
Mm.
will always mean so much to me.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, I also started as a jazz drummer, so
Yeah.
I'm listening to Buddy Rich tracks and watching
I
him.
love Buddy Rich.
Love Buddy Rich.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
I genuinely love playing anything and everything, and especially
Yep.
now that I've been playing with some of the jams around town,
Yeah.
and having to learn how to pick up songs faster
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
learn songs that I would not necessarily pick myself and then finding out like, hey, I actually really like playing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it's pop or it's like just music I haven't heard. And I think
Great.
that's been really important to me that like, okay, we don't only have to listen to My Chemical Romance all the time.
Yeah, that that would be not a good place to be. You
Right.
know,
I say that jokingly, but I mean like
but
just
some people think that.
getting
They
out of your comfort zone is what I'm getting.
yeah. Yeah, some people think that though, and I think that's a dangerous as place to be as an artist. I think I think the more you're exploring, the more the more paint brushes you have to more colors you have to use. I think of a guy like, oh, Jack White. Jack knows about he knows about Radiohead, he knows about Charlie Patton, he knows about Buddy Rich, he
Yeah.
knows about Andre 3000, he knows about Run the Jewels, he
Hmm.
knows about Billie Eilish. He's aware of everyone, and I think that's the best way to be, because then you're just going to have like a melting pot of all kinds of people to draw from. You know, I'm just as big a fan as of Chuck D as I am of Rufus Wainwright,
Hmm.
or trying to think of you may have heard of Rufus Wainwright, but
Yes, 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 I do know her.
or Tori Amos to Cat Power, or PJ Harvey, or whoever.
I love PJ Harvey.
I'm a huge fan. So, I think the more you pull from these different people, the more you're going to be a more versatile artist that, I see in you. I see in you that you just, you get it. You get it. There's a lot of, and you have a depth to you that um, is sophisticated as an artist. And I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank
Did you
you.
ever get into Meg White?
Yes. Actually, I think Nick and I are going to be doing a White Stripe song next week.
Great. Which one? Blue Orchid?
We did that. We did that a couple months ago. I love Blue
Got a reaction. You got it. Yeah,
Orchid.
he likes to play that one for the kids. He probably knows I like Jack White, but he likes to pull that one out a lot. We did it the other night or the other day.
I saw on your Instagram story.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, yeah. We did that. I posted that because, or I added that song because Nick, Nick happened to play it. So I was like, it seems to make sense.
We Nick and Aaron and I we did that song at the jam a couple months ago.
Awesome.
I think we are gonna do maybe I Fell in Love with a Girl or some White Stripe song.
Great.
But I love Meg. I think she's awesome.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, she doesn't play like anybody else. I think that's cool. She did her own thing.
She, she definitely does.
They make their own thing. I think it's really cool.
And I think for Jack, I mean, it gave Jack just kind of he could go anywhere with her foundation.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it enabled Jack to just go where he wanted to go. So for what it was, I think it was great. Which I think people don't, it's like, oh, she's so simple and this and that. It's like, well, that was the White Stripes though. I mean, Jack's whole thing was like, okay, we have guitar, drums, and my voice. That's it. That's all I have to work with. And
Right.
through that limitation, that was what inspired him, So that was part of it,
And,
for sure.
and I don't think you need, I mean, yes, it's simple, but it's tight. It's what
Calls
their
for.
song calls for. And you
Yeah.
don't have to have crazy like a 30-piece drum kit all the time.
Right.
You
Right.
don't have to go for that all the
Neil
time.
Peart.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it kind of worked for them, but I'll have to come out and do some White Stripes with you guys at the jam if you'll have me.
Absolutely.
If you'll have me, I was like, man, I need to just finish the set list right now and just get in the car and go. But it was fun last night, though. It was cool.
It was so much fun. We got to play a lot of fun songs, got to have a awesome birthday celebration. I got to play 2 Jimmy Eat World tracks, which was a lot of fun.
I think I saw that. That was great.
I had a blast playing. And now that I get to play more every week, just consistently,
Yeah.
especially these, top-notch musicians, it
Yeah.
really pushes me to just be a better musician. And there was a time when I was in college, I was not able to practice for probably 2.5, almost 3 years
Wow.
until coming out here. It was actually the first house show I played with Nick and Aaron and Rin, the girl that we all play for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I I had not played for almost like 2.5 almost years, since that day. I
Why is
couldn't
that?
practice. I was just like learning. I didn't, apartment buildings don't like drum sets very much.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah.
And I have my electric kit, but it only goes so far and it's not a
Yeah.
super great one.
Yeah.
And now getting to play every week and that I have my acoustic set back and getting challenged by these musicians every week, like having to raise the bar and meet them where
Yeah.
they are, has been a really awesome experience.
And not only that, but just networking, you know,
Oh, for sure.
with
I've
all
got
the people that you meet. And, that's the fun thing about the Center Review is like there's always new artists that we meet every time we do it, or someone says, "Oh, I want to be a part of it too." And my name's so and so. And then you look them up, you're like, oh, they're really good. And, so that's how we build communities too, That's how
exactly.
we build supportive communities, I should say.
Exactly. And I'm just really lucky that I've gotten to meet so many amazing artists in this area.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm happy to be a part of it. You might want to. I was talking to Nick about so July 16th, the Sun Art Review at Hotel Cafe will be doing the 70s night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so we started with the 90s, like we just did the 80s the other night,
Hmm.
and the 70s July 16th. If you're interested,
Ooh, I'm gonna play some 70s tracks.
there's lots of songs to pick from.
Ooh, maybe there'll be some Blondie.
Oh, there you go. She was king.
She
She
was
was king.
pink.
Oh man, I'm just gonna have to say you have to do it.
Maybe you're right.
I think you know what you have to do it.
I think now I have to do it.
I think you have to now because you need to start working on your role, and this is the perfect time to do this.
What did
See,
what did we talk about? I'm all in my research. I'm all in that.
right? So I think you have to do it. So it's on. So we'll see you July 16th at Hotel Cafe 70s night.
Count me in for some Blondie.
All right. Yeah, Nick was telling me like, yeah, I'd like to do it again because Nick did Bowie. Nick
Yeah.
did
Yes, yes, yes.
Bowie night, and he did I think I joined him on harmonica, which was kind of fun to take the back seat on that. So talk to us a bit about, I want to make sure we get this in because this is part of the reason I was really intrigued by you. I mean, I loved your photography work and I loved talking to you and I could tell you were something special. And then I discovered your street style cinema kind of podcast and production company. Talk to us about the heartbeat of that.
Absolutely. So I started street style cinema. I think now that I'm thinking about it, I believe it was 2020. Early.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, which, had to have something to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I started it. It was kind of as a joke with my roommate at the time. We were like, oh, we're so, delusional. We stay up all night and like past midnight. You never know what we're gonna say.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, wouldn't it be so funny to have some like radio show or some podcast
Oh, wow.
night show? And so I started that and I wasn't sure what to do. I mean, at first it kind of just started off as my roommate and I joking around.
Yeah.
We had nothing better to do. And then, in Colorado at the time when I was over there, there's a really good independent film scene. There's so many
Is
visual.
it? Is there?
Mhm. Yeah, that's where I actually started with my first couple feature film roles was in Colorado.
Wow. And I'm sorry, did you say Denver or
A little bit north of Denver in like the Fort Collins area.
like Morrison? Is that over by like Red Rocks?
Like north of Red Rocks, like in the like where Colorado State University is,
Ah, okay.
a little bit more towards Wyoming.
Gotcha. Okay.
But there's, a great independent film scene over there. And, I was friends with so many of them, and we were all working on something, whether it was a short film or a feature or music videos or, some local bands at the time. And I thought, very similar to what you're doing, hey, wouldn't it be a great idea to interview these artists and
Yeah.
see what they're all about and what are they working on?
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I had my one of my very, very good friends, Gavin, um as my later as my co-president and co-creator with it. And we would work on interviews for the podcast. We would do photo shoots for
Awesome.
local artists or bands. We do concert photography, and we would also write and direct and shoot music videos. So I
Yeah.
could do a handful of, I would act in the music videos, and she would either direct or edit, or I would direct, or we would,
Great.
all hands on deck. And that was such a blast. It was such a special time. Um, and I've been thinking about starting it back up again. So we'll see.
I think you should. I think you're gonna start painting again. You're gonna start your podcast. You're gonna pretend to be Debbie Harry. So I think those three things sound pretty amazing.
I think that's a pretty good plan of action.
I think so, Jasmine. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure about that.
I think you're onto something here, Brent.
Hey, we're trying. How's your painting come along? I don't know if we've got too much time, but how are you doing?
I'm good. I'd say I'm almost done. How are you coming along?
I've got a lot of space to cover yet, but you know what? I think your canvas is a little bit smaller.
It is. Mine is way smaller than yours is. So like I
Hey, it's
definitely
not the size of the canvas. It's not the number of colors you have. It's what you use, what you do with them, right?
exactly. And I've actually been having a blast painting this. So
Yeah, you having a good time?
yes.
Yeah, it's we do the live painting for the Center Review, and it's I don't know. Again, I just love watching people create, and do their thing, and I don't know. It's so inspiring,
It
you know?
absolutely is.
It's amazing. So what's your favorite, of all the things that you do, Jasmine, what's one of your most beautiful things to be a part of that you created or that you had a hand in creating? What's one of your favorites? Can you
Man,
think of one?
that's like asking me to pick a favorite child.
It is. It is. I'm
Um,
asking.
man. Um,
Not easy.
no, man, I wasn't prepared for this question at all.
Hey, I'm trying to keep you on your toes, Jazz. I mean, trying.
You got me. Um, man. I've had a couple different acting projects that have been really special to me. Gotten to do a lot of fun things, and I've gotten to do a lot of difficult things that were very
Challenging.
yes, challenging
Yeah.
but rewarding.
Yeah.
Um, I've worked a close collaborator of mine, my friend Cole Fisher. That's in he's still in Colorado.
Okay.
I got to work on a couple short films with him. And he's just a really amazing artist on himself. He never made himself fit into this mold of when other people were saying like, oh, that's kind of weird, that's kind of like
Wow.
experimental, that's kind of, and he was like, you know what, I don't care, it's mine.
Hmm.
And he's a really inspirational artist to work with,
Yeah.
because he truly does like whatever he wants. And getting to act for his sets were really cool.
Getting
Um,
the what, Jasmine? The getting the what?
Getting to act for him and just be
Oh,
on his sets
gotcha.
were very cool. Um, and that was really important. A feature film that I did called Safe House 1618, where I played the lead. Um, that was a very important film for me as well. That was my first big.
Lead.
It was my first big my leading feature film role,
Amazing.
and I learned a lot. I learned a lot, both good and bad on that set. I think it made me a stronger actor. It made me a stronger artist. Um, and I really, really pushed myself. And although there were a lot of creative issues with some of the people, maybe it didn't turn out quite the way everybody wanted it to. At the end of the
Because
day,
of you cut out a little bit, Jasmine. So for the people listening, that was a key thing you're saying. So a little bit of creative conflict.
creative conflict, creative differences, and that happens,
Yeah.
especially on movie sets when everybody's got such a hand in it. Um,
But sometimes that can fuel the art. Sometimes, right?
it does. Oh, for sure it does. And I think a lot of it made it better and a lot of it made it more challenging. But at the end of the day, like whenever I see it, I can take a step back and be genuinely proud of the work that I did.
Yeah.
Um, Giving myself over to the character, challenging myself,
Yeah.
um, because it wasn't easy. And I think that that was a very important lesson that I learned, and I could really see what my limits as an artist are, how far I can take my art.
Yeah.
And I thought that that was really important.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the things that we learn, we learn what not to do are more important than learning what to do sometimes, you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
So they're all, I mean, hey, as Neil Young said, he's like, hey, man, if you're in the game long enough, you're going to have some sort of hiccup.
Hmm.
If you're in the game for a couple years, you'll probably have an easy breezy time. But he's like, man, if you're in the game long enough, you're going to have some sort of issue. I've been grateful enough to do, I've done probably about 7 or 8 records with bands or solo records. And, my last one, I got burned. It just happens. I didn't click with the producer, and I thought I would, and that's usually like my most delicate area. Like I have to be able to like finish work with this guy and have a whiskey with him and hang out and talk because you're bearing your soul, right?
Yeah,
Literally, it's like open heart surgery to someone else in the room. So, but it just we had conflicts, and it kind of happens. But you learn and you grow, and you just grow on through, right?
absolutely. And as long as it should cost you something. It should always cost you something. And if it doesn't, then you really didn't put everything you have into it. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm proud to say that like every time I show up on set, I give it everything I have, and I will let it cost me if I look whether I look like I haven't slept in days, or
Yeah.
I'm not pretty on camera. That's fine. That's like something that was really hard. That was a good lesson, is like a lesson in vanity.
Yeah.
Um, Showing up on set and having to look like I haven't slept in days because I also hadn't slept in days. And like I'm not looking pretty on camera. I look like a garbage
Yeah.
fire. And
Yeah.
I feel exhausted.
Interesting. What does that look like?
I'll show you pictures later.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, you just kind of get in there and do the gig, and take care of the task at hand. And sometimes you just gotta set all of it aside. I mean, I think we all can be insecure as performers, but that's the moment where you don't have to be you in that hour, 45 minutes or 3 minutes for a song. You can be somebody else. And that was one of the key things about, that David Bowie would dress up in all these wild characters because he was painfully insecure, and much like we all are, and I certainly am. But he's like, I didn't have to be David Bowie for that hour. I could be somebody else, you know?
Exactly. And I think that that's another reason why I love it so much is, sometimes you just get tired of being you, or you have an insecurity about yourself, and getting to not hide yourself, but putting yourself into this character. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's freeing
Yeah.
to play someone else.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is.
yeah, I love it so
It's,
much.
and that's the beauty of it. What's your as we almost come to a close, what's your favorite thing to do out of everything that you've done? Like what if you only had, I know this isn't the best question, but maybe it is, or easy to answer. If you could only do one thing of all your gifts and talents and be paid handsomely for the rest of your life, what would that be? I would say, gosh, I don't know if I want that gig because there's a lot of stuff I would like to do. But if someone said, listen, you know, I've got this modeling gig for you that is going to take care of you for the rest of your life, or I've got this photography gig for you, or do you want to join the Foo Fighters? Which gig would you take? Which gig would you go for?
Man, oh, that's the hardest question anybody's ever asked me.
Hey, we got it. People, thank you everybody for tuning in, by the way. We're so
Thank,
happy you guys are here.
um,
We're hanging on to our hats, waiting for Jasmine to answer this question.
Man, if I could only do one more, and this is something which I hadn't mentioned yet that I've always wanted to do. My favorite book series, one of my favorite movies, my favorite just character is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Ah,
And
yeah,
anything in that, whether it's the graphic novels or the books or the whichever version of the movie you want to pick.
yeah, yeah.
I love that. I love it so much. I think it's excellent writing. I think the character of Lisbeth
Okay.
is superb, and I would love nothing more than to play that character. So,
Wow. So would you want to play it, write it, or photographic, or take photos?
if I could
Me?
do all of it, that'd be great.
Man.
No, I would love to play her. It's been in talks for a while that they were going to do like a TV series about her, and that hadn't really gone anywhere. And
Yeah. Well,
if,
plus with everything on strike right now.
right, so if they ever do, I will be the first in line.
Wow. Go for it. Yeah, that'd be incredible. Well,
I would be a very happy artist.
yeah, that's I know that's a tough question. That's a very difficult one. Man, I'm hustling over here. I've got little ground to cover.
I think
How are you doing?
I'm about done.
All right, we might go a little past if you can, if that's all right.
That's okay.
But yeah, I've got a little ground to cover. So who's some of your favorite artists that inspire you as an art? Like do you have a few that really like, man, I love their work?
Yeah. Like any kind of artist.
More painting or architecture, that kind of thing.
Oh,
Anybody that really moves you.
yeah, I really like the Impressionist movement. I really
Okay,
like Monet a lot.
right
Um,
on.
I've always really loved Monet. I like I'm a very texture type of
Yeah,
person, and the impasto strokes on those. Um,
yeah.
I like seeing it come off the canvas. Of course, I'm not going to go touch a Monet painting, but like, God, I would
I'm
love,
not best to do.
but I would love to. Um, I love the colors, how it goes from, real life to these broad strokes, the thick paint on it,
Yeah,
how that translates into an artist's brain. I think that's beautiful.
yeah. Are you into Basquiat? Have you seen the exhibit?
No, I've not seen the exhibit. Have you?
Oh man, it's incredible. He's actually one of my favorites for
Yeah.
sure. Are-
No, I have not gone to the exhibit.
you guys, you and Nick should check it out because I know Nick is a big fan of art as well.
He is. Yeah.
So You guys should definitely go check it out. It's pretty amazing.
Where is it?
It's right across from the Disney Hall.
Okay.
Shoot, I didn't want to do that. Whenever I make a wrong move painting, it's like you can't take it back.
I know. I know.
This ain't no Pro Tools. Yeah, it's right across from the Disney Hall. So his sisters put it together.
Okay.
Because obviously Basquiat has passed on. He passed like with the 80s, 90s.
Something like
So it's just a lot. It's a huge collection of his work.
Oh, that's beautiful. No, I didn't
And
even know that there was the exhibit.
yeah, I think it's going for maybe another month, but yeah, it's great. You guys should definitely check it out.
Go check that out. I, since moving here, have unfortunately not been able to go to very many museums, but that is something that I'd like to. I got to go to the Academy Museum.
Oh, great. Yeah,
Um, oh, sorry.
it
Can you
kind of
hear
cut
me?
out a little bit. It cut out.
Man, can you hear me now?
I got you.
There we go.
Okay, good.
Uh, I got to go to the Academy Museum, and that was, beautiful. For me, I love film history so much, and they were doing an exhibit on Coppola, and
Oh,
that was
really?
it was really special for me to see. I love Coppola's work.
Wow. Are you into his daughter as well?
Oh, I love Sophia's work.
Yeah, I've met her actually.
You have?
Yeah, I met her when I worked um more optician. I was an optician actually. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did. No, I didn't.
Yeah, before I went, with the foundation and he's full-time artist and all that. But yeah, so she was one of our patients.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think she was dating the singer from Phoenix.
At
I
the
don't know if
time,
you knew that.
yes, 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 I did. I forgot.
In fact, I think they're married now and all that stuff. But yeah, she was really, really nice. Really, really nice person.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of her work as well. But seeing the Academy Museum, it's just, all the whether it's
Amazing.
the actors or the directors or the writers that I look up to. I mean, so
Wow.
from history, it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous to see.
I don't think I've been in there.
If you get a chance to go, I highly recommend it.
Well, you guys should definitely check out the Broad Museum.
Okay.
Yeah, the Broad is pretty incredible. It's basically, well, Nick might know. It's he Eli Broad. He came into wealth through I think like an insurance company or something. And he
Mhm.
went to Michigan State, him and his wife, and they have a Broad Museum at Michigan State on the campus of Michigan State.
Uh-huh.
So basically, what he did was he created these museums just to house his artwork and share it with the world.
Uh-huh.
So it's free to get into. So it's like incredible. And the museums themselves are like art installations, they're
Yeah.
incredible. So yeah, you guys should definitely check it out. And it's free.
Okay. Absolutely. Thank you.
So yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna actually finish all this, but it's getting there. Kind of sorta.
I'm excited.
Watercolors, when you're on a big canvas, it takes a lot of water. You can't just like take a brush really.
I know. I was kind of cheating. I found these watercolor pens that I
Oh
have.
wow.
So they're a little old, so they came out a little clump.
Wow. I've never heard of those.
They're really cool. They're I don't know. I got them at Michael's at
How does
craft.
that work? Like, how does it, do you like, do you just, do you poke it and stuff comes out or what?
Yeah, you like shake it and like kind of get it started and then dip it in water and it's just like a brush
Wow.
already ready to go.
Wow. I'll have to try that. Very cool. So what do you have coming up? Talk to us we'll go maybe just about 5 minutes or so. What do you have coming up, Jasmine, that we should know about? How do we find you on the IGs and all that stuff? What's up with that?
All that stuff. Well, coming up, we don't have any shows booked yet, but the artist that I play for with Nick and Aaron, her name is Rin. She just released a new song and we were just playing We just played at the Viper Room with her, which was really
Right.
awesome. So I'm sure we'll have new dates coming up soon, and some writing stuff under works. So if you
Great.
check me out on the Instagram and all of that stuff,
Right
I'll be
on.
updating there. It's at Jazz in Space, JAZ in space, and also streetstyle.cinema, which is the photography page. You'll see the big red lips on there.
Yep, yep. The logo behind you.
Yes.
There you go. Oh, I just came up with a really very good question for you.
Oh, tell me.
If you could photograph any musician alive or passed on, who would it be?
All the hardest questions ever.
But an interesting one, I
Um,
think. Who would
yeah.
it be? Band or living or passed on?
You
Who would
know
it
what?
be?
I actually, I think it would be Bowie.
Wow.
I think so. And I'm not just saying it because it's you. I mean, like
I am a bit of a
just a little bit.
Bowie nerd.
I think it would be Bowie just because like that's a photograph. That's a person that's like nobody else. You're never gonna meet somebody that's like that. And just, I mean, just on a visual aspect from
Yeah,
the way
yeah,
his face looks. I mean,
yeah.
the coolest face, the coolest hair, the colors,
Voice.
the obviously, but
Yeah,
the visual perspective for as a photographer, like that's
yeah.
the coolest person you're ever gonna get to capture.
I was
Um,
kind of thinking Bowie too. I was kind of thinking Bowie. Um,
I mean, it's so cool. It'd be
Tina
so
Turner.
you
Tina
know,
Turner would be amazing. Um, maybe Rage Against the Machine even.
that'd be
Just
cool.
just because they were so animated. Um, you had Tom Morello and Zach De La Roca. So that might be interesting. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think Bowie would be a big one just because again, his appearance and long limbs and outfits and that whole thing, it seems to make sense. Who
it
else?
absolutely does.
Blondie back in the 70s, that CBGBs?
Of course. Yeah, that'd be incredible. I mean, even just photography in general, like getting to roll in on that time, like you're
Yeah.
walking to the whiskey and you get to see, whoever's playing there in like the 80s or the 90s, and you walk
Yeah.
in and see whoever's on the stage. Like that would have been so cool.
Yeah. Could you imagine just shooting like Hendrix or Morrison
Yeah,
back then? Man, crazy to think about.
it's
It's
crazy.
nuts.
Yeah. But, I'm really happy that I get to do this now. And there's so many amazing musicians and performers and artists and everyone that I've been so lucky to meet. And like, it really is an honor to capture you included, all of you guys,
Um,
just on the stage doing what you love. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see.
yeah, it's kind of capturing, someone's heart,
Hmm.
and I'm sorry to bring the tension back to me, but that, I can't say enough how you caught me in that. I specifically remember just thinking, Jazz, like, Brent, be at peace right now and take this in. And I probably looked up for two. It was just basically saying, whatever you believe in, the universe. I was thanking, like, thank you. I'm okay for these 2 seconds. I feel no pain.
And I'm happy that
And
I got to capture that. And that's like one of the reasons why I love to do it as well. Of once, I finish editing them and I'm like, here you go, here are the photos.
yeah,
And getting to hear that, like, that's everything for me. I mean, because it takes so long to edit these photos and,
yeah,
it takes a while, but giving them to you guys, like, that's what makes it worth it. And they're like, wow, I look so cool. Or, oh my God, like, look at that face I'm making or the way that I'm
yeah.
making or whatever it is. It's totally worth it.
Yeah, you definitely had some amazing ones in Nick too. Nick was
Oh yeah.
pretty animated. I just remember looking at all the guys and Just everybody was just all smiles the whole
Every
time. It was just, excuse me, one of those nights where you just seems like everything just kind of clicked, and it felt right.
Yeah,
So
and I love photographing him, Nick as well. I mean,
yeah.
not that I'm biased or anything,
Hey, it's okay.
but I mean, he's just a great performer.
Yeah.
And after I'm like, hey, great show, and he's just sweating, and
Yeah.
he's because he gives it his all, and I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
so awesome, and I'm glad that I get to capture him doing that as well.
Yeah, and I'm grateful to work with him too on so many levels. The kids love him because he's animated like that and he's fun and he comes in with a smile. But yeah, on stage, he gives it his all, and you want to look to your right and see somebody hopping, and just moving their body and feeling, what you're feeling because you're in that spaceship together for
Exactly.
that time. So I'm grateful to Nick for a lot of things. Yeah, for sure. So, and got
Exactly.
to meet you, which is pretty fantastic as well, Jasmine.
I'm a
So
pretty lucky girl.
that's
I
cool.
got to meet you. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I think we've developed quite a friendship. But I think I should just call it. It's not quite done, but it's we got to play the game properly. So who
Okay.
wants to go first? Want to
I
reveal first? You
I'll
go
go.
first.
I'll go. Okay. Let me see if it works.
Right. I
Make sure.
can't wait.
Ta-da!
Wow. Look at that.
Thank you.
That's amazing. I love it.
Thank you. I
It's
just
very cool.
did
We
whatever I felt like doing, which was
we
nice.
got we got red in there, yellow, orange.
Yeah,
Wow.
I wish I had more watercolors because it got really streaky. They're really old, but it was
No,
so much.
I think it worked. I mean, I can't see it super up close, but it looks great.
Well, thank you very much.
Right on. Well, mine's a little bit more abstract.
Let me see. Let me see.
Mine's, yeah, it's not exactly like that. It's not really anything, I don't think. But that's the thing about abstract is you just kind of make it your own, like whatever you see in it. But there it is.
Ooh, I like at the top the circle swirl thing at the top. That's where my eyes were drawn to first.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. Just kind of you kind of just do it. Go
Well,
for it.
whatever it is, it's very cool. I like your color scheme on it.
Not quite finished, but So yeah, so there it is. So we what we can do is we could probably post them if you want at electricmoon.org for people to
Yeah,
see again.
for sure.
And we can maybe even auction them off if you want. I'll probably
Absolutely.
auction mine off
You'd keep,
for
yeah,
Electric Moon Foundation for working with the kids. So we're doing, as you know, we're doing the summer camps with Nick.
yes.
So working to get these kids instruments and music lessons, writing songs. What do you think of the story of Benji and the Bumblebee?
It was adorable. I
You like
loved it.
that?
The kids did such a good job. All of them had so much fun.
Yeah.
I loved how like even though some of them were a little shy, they
Yeah.
like still loved it. It was adorable. You did a great job with them.
Yeah, Nick did as well. We worked hard at it, worked with the kids, but
Yeah.
Benji was so cute. I don't know if you caught that, but he would take a breath, he'd go, and remember to always make beautiful things out of puddles. Remember
And
that?
he was adorable. He was
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah, he did great. I'd whisper in his ear, just take your time.
yeah.
You know the line. But okay, so I think that's about it. So we've got the Sun Art Review coming up, Hotel Cafe, celebrating the 70s. We usually pick an iconic artist or a theme, and then we invite amazing Los Angeles songwriters to interpret the music however they like. So that's happening July 16th, and I think Jasmine Day is going to be a part of that.
I guess so. Well, I can't back out of it now. I
You
guess
can't. I'm writing it down. Here it goes. All right, so we got Jasmine. You'll do a Blondie song, and then you can do a Talking Heads. You can do Bowie,
be sweet.
do the Ramones, Bad Brains, whatever it is, as long as it was released in the 70s. And you can find us at electricmoon.org. This show, once we edit it, Jasmine, will be up at our podcast, the Electric Moon Podcast.
Awesome.
or later viewing if people missed it. Tell us one more time how we can find you and your work, Jasmine.
You can find my personal work, acting, dancing, and drumming on at Jazz in Space on Instagram, and you can find my photography and directing at streetstyle.cinema on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, I hope you had fun.
I did. I had a blast. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Yeah, I'm such a big fan of yours, Jasmine, and I hope to do this again sometime. And look forward to seeing you out there. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I'm such a big fan of you. So next time when I finally get that podcast running, I will be interviewing you.
You got to do it. So, what are the three things you're going to be painting more?
I gotta paint. I
Play
gotta
Blondie.
play Blondie.
Bring your play, paint, and perform as Blondie, and bring your podcast back for sure.
I think that sounds good to me.
All right, you got it.
Thank you so much, Brent.
All right, bye everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next month. Jasmine Day, bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.